The Joe Rogan Experience.
John would take him down.
Yeah.
And listen, John easily could be 240 pounds. Easily.
I think what he's doing is he's going to clean out light heavyweight. There's really no one there for him. He's going to clean that out and then go to heavyweight.
Maybe.
He's going to...
Or maybe he just stays at light heavyweight and just goes down as the GOAT and just keeps beating the
He's
fuck out of all the
GOAT,
contenders.
Though.
He is.
It's weird to me. DC wants that fight again at light heavyweight. I'm like, come on, DC.
Does he?
Do it at least at heavyweight.
Heavyweight's the way to go.
That's an ego thing for DC.
DC gets past Stipe, which is a big if.
It's a big if.
Realize, like, DC connected with that beautiful punch in the clinch, but Stipe has had over a year to stew on that. It's been driving him fucking crazy.
I don't think that's a good thing.
I think it's good for Stipe. Stipe's an animal. I'm not worried about that. I think he's going to be better.
I think ring rust's an issue.
I don't think so.
DC's been way more active.
But Stipe's a real veteran, man. He's a real veteran, and he's a humble dude. He's a hard ass. He's not going to come in there with a lot of expectations on himself. He's just going to do his best, I think. I'm not worried at all about with some
I think
guys,
it's a tougher fight for DC.
Like, if Donald Cerrone was taking a year plus off and then was going to fight for the title, I'd be like, whoo, I'd like Donald to get a fight in.
God, I wish he would do that. You and I are off on this.
Yeah,
I wish Donald would take a fucking break and not fight Tony in 3 days' notice.
No, I agree with that too. I wish he would take a break and not fight Tony in 3 weeks' notice.
Yeah.
But 3 weeks after his last fight.
Yeah.
But when Donald fights a lot, as long as it's within reason, it's the best Donald.
That's what he wants.
Yes. He just likes to get in the groove. He likes to stay active. I think for Stipe...
You can't be champion and do that, though. Name someone who's done it. Go.
Yeah.
Name one guy.
Well, everyone's different. I'm just
going off measurements. There's no one who's that active.
Who's ever fought like the most as champion? Who's fought the most?
The most?
Like the most like active.
I
like
know. Who's the most active champion? DC's pretty active at light heavyweight and heavyweight. Pretty fucking active.
Pretty fucking active. And I think John is trying to be really active. I mean, think about
that whole division's fucked.
Yeah.
He's going to clear out all of them and dip out and leave them like the fucking Queen of the Dragons.
Okay. George St. Pierre fought 15 title bouts. Wow. He had 15 title bouts.
Wow.
That's crazy. Randy Couture, 15. How about Randy Couture?
But that doesn't mean
all
active.
These years later,
like
still.
that could have been 15 over 7 years.
That's still. All those years later, Randy Couture is still tied for the record of the most title fights. That's crazy. Mighty Mouse right under that with 14. Anderson, 13. The difference is, with all those guys, you know, I mean, it's all different eras, different divisions.
I think era means everything because I think what John's doing in the current era is more impressive than what Randy or George or any Anderson did.
Who do you think is a danger to John right now?
There's no one. At light heavyweight?
Yeah.
No one. Absolutely no one. Thiago Santos, I know we got to hype it up. Like, oh, punch a chance. Yeah, for sure. I get that. There's no one at light heavyweight. Maybe you know what? Johnny Walker, but he's so far removed right now, he has to get by maybe 3 more guys before we start being like, yeah, he might be a threat. But he's maybe a potential.
Hope his shoulder's okay. Mm-hmm. If his shoulder's okay, what that guy does is crazy. He starches people. He starched Khalil Roundtree with an elbow in the clinch. Remember that?
Yeah.
Standing. Vicious. That crazy, this kind of elbow. One of them bad boys.
Vicious.
KOs him with that, and then KOs Misha Sakurnov with a flying knee right to the fucking chops.
Freak.
He's a freak.
But he hasn't done it like John has to Shogun, to fucking,
no comparison.
Machida.
Look, there's no comparison to anyone who's ever fought in the light heavyweight division and Jon Jones. Right now, there's no comparison.
There's no threats.
Well, except DC, but DC lost. He lost twice.
DC's not a threat at light heavyweight. DC at
I still
heavyweight
think he's a threat at light heavyweight.
No
I think he's a threat.
Not right now. At heavyweight, yes. Heavyweight, he's a threat. His power goes up. We've seen how it works out for DC.
But what if DC got more dedicated and disciplined with his diet? So what if DC fights against Stipe and says, so when does this Stipe fight happen? Is it July? July? Okay. So what if DC says, okay, August, September, let's plan for New Year's Eve with Jon Jones that weekend, and he takes a week off, goes to fucking Mardi Gras or whatever the fuck he wants to do, drink some beer.
Shout out to New Orleans.
Yeah, have some pizza, kicks back.
Yeah, for a week.
And then goes on a serious diet with a real good nutritionist who's going to check his macros, make sure he's eating healthy food.
And you think that's why he's not beating John?
No, but I'm saying where he could get down to 205 healthy, where he doesn't have any... Look, Daniel Cormier, if there's anything that's ever held him back, he's not the best at his diet and.
But that's what makes DC great.
Well, he's one of the things that makes him great. He's a wrestler. He's a fantastic wrestler. That makes him great. He's tough as shit. That makes him great. He's got
his endurance is great.
Incredible mental strength.
And that could be due to his body fat.
I don't know about all that.
That's some people say. Think about that. Think about the most shredded guys in the UFC.
Well, I don't mean he should get shredded. What I mean is he should make 205 with no problems, where he could go to war for 5 rounds with a guy like Jon Jones without weakening him. I don't know if that's possible. You might be right.
I don't know if it's in his DNA, especially at his age.
40 years of age.
I think heavyweight's the way to go. I think heavyweight, his power's up. We saw that with Stipe. I think if he's going to connect, which he has in the clinch against Jon, the power's there. I still think he'll be an underdog, but that gap narrows at heavyweight. At light heavyweight, it doesn't, especially at his age. I think it's even further apart now that Jon's being more active.
Well, maybe he wants to do that to prove a point, because if he beats Jon
my problem.
at
his
heavyweight,
ego, man. Fuck light heavyweight. At heavyweight, dude, you're the champ. Jon, if he wants to have that legacy fight, that rubber match, even though he's 2-0, go there. And let's see what happens. It's an ego thing.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of agree with you.
Especially for DC, it's like, DC, dude, if you beat Jon at heavyweight and you ride off in the sunset, game, set, match, best of all time to ever do it.
Right. Like, how about this? Tito Ortiz right now owns Chuck Liddell, right? Chuck Liddell smashes him 2 times when they're in their prime, but then Tito knocked him out. And Chuck looked terrible. Tito KO'd him. It looked really bad. And Chuck will never fight again. And Tito will always sleep at night knowing he just fucked Chuck Liddell up.
Don't even think about those other ones.
Right. You don't even think about it. He got it back. He got it back in a big way.
And he
got it back the way he wanted to.
Correct.
He clipped him with a right hand, put his lights out, and then punched him a couple times when he's out. And that's
the
a wrap.
replay.
Yep.
And for DC, it's like he even after the Jon loss, he went on to fucking heavyweight to knock out Stipe, who some can argue it's the best UFC heavyweight of all time. He went on to beat Derek Lewis, who's so dangerous.
Yeah.
And then let's say you beat Stipe for a second time. What the fuck?
You know what I was really impressed with?